a best build order for Swann here. I'm going to quickly show up my mastery points. Normally I just kind of go here. If you do 26, you can take out Void Rifts and Battle Cruisers and stuff like that. Normally I also would do Structure Health, although sometimes it helps to do this, but honestly I've never really found too many instances where I needed this. Certain mutations I have found myself doing this, and I usually just go straight Vespian Drone Cost, just because it helps to get your best economic build out. Because basically at any point, whether your partner has all of their gases up, they get them all at the same time, it really doesn't matter, because you can always just spend 10 minerals and get a gas. Yeah, I think that'd be a really cool mass co-op mutation. I could go mass medics, and then my partner could go mass Thors. So anyways, to start off the build, you have to make sure that you get a supply depot. You're not Artanis or any Nova or whatever. You have to get a supply depot. And I'm going to send 2 SCVs to build it.
I've been hired to destroy those trains, but I don't have the personnel to do it.
Make sure you stay on top of everything.
What do you say?
Oh, I hate it when people lag out. And then I'll go for double gas. I'm going to send one of you guys here. And then at 16 supply, I'll build the second one. Again, staying on top of all your production. That's really important. Sorry, when am I going over so quick? Dropping both these right away. And then make sure I get a factory started. Start off with 2 here, and then I'll end up getting a 4th. I just want to wait a little bit until this guy comes out. I don't really like being left too far below 14, to be honest. If you can stay at 14, you're going to be better off. Then I'm going to send all these guys over to the natural. He's taking that one. And then I'm going to make 2. Yeah, I like it, Bopine. I'm going to get 2 of these guys. And I'm going to need to make a supply depot. Very important I get that right now. Let's turn over here. So I'm going to set this first one to, as soon as it's done, end up salvaging itself. And the same thing with the second one. But at 75% here is when you want to turn this guy off. And that should give you enough gas to make your... should have done it a little bit later, but that's okay. To make your CC. I have extra over here, so I'm going to go ahead and pull over here to make sure that's done as fast as possible. So I'm still at 14 supply, which is a really big deal. Which is basically the most optimal saturation without getting too crazy. And then right now I can start making a couple extra turrets here. Now certain missions, you want to forgo some other things. But now that I'm done here, I've got that. On this mission, you can always deal with it with the combat drop or whatever you need to deal with. And then right now that I've got all this started, I'm going to go ahead and get a armory to start working on laser drill upgrades and everything else. And then as soon as I'm done with this, I'll make sure to get a starport next. It all depends on how you like to play this. I like to try to get more upgrades for my units, but this one I'm going to make sure to get upgrades for my laser drill. And once you hit 5 minutes is when you should start focusing on making sure that you have full saturation on your gases. I'm going to go ahead and get that, and that. I'm starting to build a couple tanks here, and I'll use my call down to deal with the first set of trains. Make sure I get that started. So now I've got full saturation on my gases. I'm working on just finishing up the rest of my saturation on minerals. That's already done, so I might as well drop this here.
I'm calling in a special delivery.
Got a tank coming out.
A main objective has been destroyed.
Make sure I get that upgrade.
The enemy's plans have been
That over
thwarted
here.
for now.
And get some upgrades for my
Adversaries intend
units.
to eliminate us.
Making sure I get my tech labs or tech reactors as fast as possible. Actually, I'll put that over here. And I'll get another armory. So I'm going to start making some Goliaths as well, because it's going to be an attack force that's going to need that. And I'm going to build a couple more units before I make my second factory. But you are going to need at least 2 of them. It all depends on the enemy comps you're going up against. But another thing I really like to make sure I get is a Hercules pretty early on. You can see how quickly you can get supply blocked if you go for more than one factory, or even just a single factory. And again, just staying on top of everything I can right now. I'm only fully saturated over here, so I'm going to go ahead and rally just a little bit over there. And we should be good. So one of the things I like to do, if I can, is leave one of my SCVs ready to go at all times to just build supply depots for me.
More minerals required.
And I love using Hercules here to deal with everything that's coming out. Again, I'm going to make sure I stay on top of everything. Don't really need any more of those.
Army upgraded.
Pull these guys here. I made a couple extras, so I'm just going to get rid of them.
Upgrade allied forces in combat.
I got the drill, might as well use it.
Enemy
Everything with me.
SCVs.
Yeah, like I said, I want to get rid of those. I'm going to wait for that attack force to kill those guys. This is almost done being built, tech lab wise. And we're just going to stay on top of everything, making sure I get upgrades for everything I possibly can. Whole army's all ready to go, and I can just pick everybody up and move them where I need to move them.
Attacking SCVs.
Setting the rally point here helps. I'm going to need to make another set of Hercules to be able to get all of my army inside. And I'm keeping my Hercules on their own control group so that I can basically do stuff like this anytime I want. The Goliaths in front.
Doing the happy dance.
Well, thank you
doing
so
the happy
much,
dance.
Hermione, for the follow. I really appreciate it. And move those guys back and drop this. And it's pretty much that's it. You're just going to make sure you keep all of your upgrade facilities on their own control groups so that you can do whatever you need to do. Keep everybody inside. And now that's basically it. I'm just going to send these guys out to go kill themselves. It's also nice, too, to keep your rally point, where you rally everything on a camera location. You need to make some more supply depots. Every time you make more units, always make sure that you're thinking about whether or not you need more supply. And a lot of people don't know this, but you can set them to rally or to unload while moving if you press the hotkey to unload at the exact same time, and then select the units that you're trying to unload. It actually works really well to make it so you can actually kind of do a little bit of a pre-spread. Again, staying on top of everything I possibly can.
If you want to catch it, you're going to have to move fast.
Got all the upgrades there. I like to get the upgrade to make it so your science vessels can heal if they need to, or heal for free.
Has been contained.
One of the things that's also nice to do
Forces in combat.
Greetings, Command.
is have your entire army on a hotkey. So that when you get out of your vessels, you can easily load back in really fast.
Just peachy. Got a wave of enemies gunning for us.
Combat. Army.
And again, just checking to make sure that I got everything being made at any time I need it to be made. Gonna drop stuff like this.
Allied forces in combat.
And I get a couple more science vessels.
Vespine gas required.
At this point, I will make a couple more supply depots. Oh, that's what I thought. I thought there was something odd about my gas income. Again, I have everything rallied to or set on a camera location.
Simultaneously. Looks like your dance card's full.
So I'm going to start off up here. Okay, I'm going to start here and do that. So I unload everywhere I need to unload.
Allied forces
Start making some more tanks.
Combat drop ready.
Gonna make sure I get my last upgrade for my attack units.
Looks like
I might as
we're
well
making
make
progress.
some.
We've knocked over roughly half their shipments.
Allied forces in
Might as well make some Hellbats, because why the hell not?
Allied forces in combat.
And then I have way more than I need to be able to take care of anything that I have.
Additional hostile Allied forces in combat.
Again, having all of my army on a hotkey does help,
Can escape our combined might.
so I can just quickly load into whatever I need to.
Affirmative, sir.
Allied forces in combat.
Again, this isn't necessarily like the most optimum use of all this stuff, but you know, my partner's killing a lot of stuff that I could also be killing, not a big deal. But yeah, that's basically the build order.
Insufficient
There's really not much else to say about it.
there. Enemy is coming.
You'll take care of whatever you need to take care of. I'm gonna set my rally point to my air units.
Additional supply. Allied forces in combat.
That's really about it. Really not much else to say. Load up. Got another Hercules that I'll end up loading everything up into. I'm gonna set this rally point back over there.
Allied forces in combat.
Looks like they've got another shipment leaving the station. That's caused some delays.
I am activating emergency shields.
Yeah, and that's about it. If you feel like at any point you're not really making enough stuff, you can always make a third and a fourth factory. But honestly, like gas-wise, you only really need to be able to make that two, maybe a third one. You really don't need too much more, because honestly, like gas-wise, you're really just never gonna have enough to be able to get everything like that you want. Unless you like to make a lot of Hellbats or something like that.
Allied forces in combat.
Concentrated fumes online.
Again, keeping all of my Hercules on their own control group, doing the drop as we go, making sure my science vessels come with me everywhere I go.
Allied forces.
Get the last of that. Everybody load up.
Transmit orders.
Allied forces in combat. Army upgraded.
And I have all my upgrades, nothing else to get.
Ready for deployment.
Excellent.
Enemy forces detected. Prepare our defense. Upgrade completed.
If you ever feel like you're not going to be able to deal with everything right away, you can always drop your little combat unit drops wherever you need it first. Sometimes that helps.
Transmit orders.
Okay, and then load everybody up. really, we are done. There's not much left. I got a full army supply. We got a double train drop coming up. Or a train. Go ahead, load everybody up into that.
Allied forces.
So something I like to do is, because I have all of my units on the same control group,
Allied forces.
I always like to make sure my science vessels go where they need to go first. And then I'll just go ahead and do again, hold down that and make sure that I drop everybody where it needs to drop.
Main objective destroyed.
And so sometimes if you feel like you don't need to move too far, you can just load up all your siege tanks.
Got another fast one on the bottom track.
And then you don't have to worry about picking up everything and then dropping everything again. Yeah, really not much else to say. So I'm going to try to move these guys over my army so that I can pick up everything a little bit easier.
Objective destroyed.
Ha! Where you going? Nowhere!
Yeah, that's it. I got every upgrade I could possibly need.
Moves against us. We will meet them head on.
Got one tank that got left behind.
Bonus objective completed.
So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And look, everything died.
Forces in
Oh,
combat.
wait. One got left. Get off my back! Left a couple tanks behind because I really want to make sure that I got to where I needed to go. Now we really don't have much else to do, so I'm going to load everything I possibly can up.
Can't have much cargo. Keep it up.
Transmit orders.
Allied forces in combat. I am shielding our
And that's it. So again, I'm going to go over the basic idea. Use 2 SCVs to make your first supply depot, and then go straight into double gas. Once you got your double gas going, then you got to make sure
Destroyed.
that you start working on your factory. So you're going to ultimately build your factory with 4 SCVs, but I don't like to immediately drop 4 SCVs right onto the factory, because if you do that, you're going to go down to like basically 10 workers harvesting. Every time you get to 14, pull one over, pull one over, pull one over, right? And then use those 4 to go over to your natural and build your 2 rocket turrets. Make sure you build those as fast as you can, and then set them to basically kill everything. As soon as you get to about 75% on the main rock, 75% life killed on the main rocks, go ahead and salvage one of your turrets, and that way you'll have exactly the amount of minerals you need to go ahead and build your CC. As soon as you place your CC, grab 4 SCVs and bring them over to your natural and have them help build that CC. And that way you're basically going to be at 14 supply at your main and then you'll have 8 over at your natural. And that way it helps to kind of build everything, because ultimately the best use of an SCV is going to be 14 workers. That extra one only gets you, I think, about like 33% of an actual worker. From there, focus, depending on what you like to build on, focus on either your laser drill upgrades, your attack upgrades, your tech lab upgrades, but ultimately you want to get every upgrade you possibly can for every unit you're going to use. Anyways, I'm Hunter AFI. Thanks so much for watching. I do hope that helped.